Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to take a look at some tens unit play and a little tip that I have that might make this play easier for you. So we're going to take a look at how to trim the contact pads to help you get a better connection with your tens unit. And just a quick peek at my tens unit here. And the pads that we use, which are actually available on Amazon. I will put a link in the bottom for you, but we'll change the camera angle. We'll take a look at how to trim these pads for what I find to be really good contact. And then we'll also take a look at placement in a sketch I made of a woman's vulva. But first, do remember that every person has their own risk profile. You need to learn as much as you can about tens play and decide if it's right for you and what you're willing to try and not try. Obviously, we're using this as not for its intended purpose. So something to keep in mind, use your best safety practices. And don't do what Sadie does if you don't think you'd like it, or if you don't think it's safe for you. And if you have a pacemaker, if you're pregnant, these are all things you should consider not doing this at all with. All right, but assuming you've assessed your risk, you want to give it a try, let me show you how I trim the pads for better orgasms with the tens unit. And before we do that, for a while, I had always heard that tens units gave a really good orgasm, but I never tried it for myself. And finally I did. And I tried many different configurations with the pads, the contact pads. So I finally found what works best for me. And I will show you that trick now. Let me switch the angle. Okay, so for starters, with the tens unit, you have these two leads, and the red one is meant to be the anode and the giver of the power, and the black, the cathode or the receiver. They can feel different to different people, so test it out and see which side feels more powerful to you, the red or the black. And you connect these with the pads that I had just showed you. And I will put these down here so you can see. They're on a clear piece of plastic. So they are reusable pads as long as you're using them for the same person. You don't want to use them on you and then use them on someone else. Not really a good idea. So what you're going to do with these is take a look and see where these ends of the leads are in here. And then what I do is cut around, because trying to stick this whole thing in your vagina area, they get they get stuck together, and it's really kind of crappy and not a good experience. And then they pull off and the current is too powerful. So what you want to do is kind of just take a pair of scissors, and I've got my little craft scissors here, and just cut around. You might want to leave a little extra area here to help crook around parts of your clit or whatever anatomy you're using. And there you have it. Then you pull this off and you can stick it on. Of course, after you attach to the leads. And you would cut out the same space around this one. And this is a hack, one on either side of the clit that I've found that works for me and delivers a really good orgasm. So now on to placement. Okay, so let's talk about placement of the leads. So for me, the place I would place them, and it's going to be different for everyone. The red is usually the positive, giving the charge, and the black is usually the negative, receiving the charge. And that's how we create the circuit. But each side, is the black or the red, is going to feel different for each person. So depending on how I'm feeling, I like the stronger side to be on the right side of my clit, right about here. And so I take that narrow strip and I line it right up there. And then the black side I put on this side of my clit. Now, best practices for intended use recommend at least an inch apart. Obviously, this is not going to be an inch apart on me and on most women. You could probably get like the inch apart if you're using it on a penis. Once again, you have to choose what works best with your risk profile. And if the one that feels best goes on that sweet spot, that's great. Or if you're giving it and you want your bottom to have to work a little, you can put where it feels better at a different spot, whichever. Just remember that if you don't have the contacts on completely, it can be very shocking and rather unpleasant. So just some ideas for placement. You have to experiment with yourself and always start low and go up slowly. That's about it for in the placement department. Assess your risk. Do what you feel safe doing. Everybody has different risk profiles. Make sure you know what yours is and read everything you can. Learn everything you can about using the TENS unit before you do use it. Okay, that's the end of the placement.